Everyone, this is Colleen Meyer, and welcome to a brand new take with Michelle Perez. Michelle is a speaker, the author of the Amazon best-selling book, Leaving Large, The Stories of a Food Addict, and a food story finder. Michelle, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Colleen Meyer, extraordinary producer and moderator. I appreciate you so much. And I want to tell you who else I appreciate. I appreciate our nutritionist, Gina Cushenberry, for being on the screen with us this month. I appreciate Terry Riley for being on the screen with us tonight, to share with us how we want to look, how we want to feel, how we want to show up, and how we can do that with Cabby. So before I jump into all of that, I want to do this really, really quickly. If you have not downloaded your free chapter of Leaving Large, The Stories of a Food Addict, please do it now. In that book, I talk about what I learned, what my stories, my personal stories taught me, and what to believe about food, so I could finally lose weight and keep it off and keep it off for good. So if you're struggling with that, just download a free chapter. Get a taste. How about that? Get a taste of it, and you can also purchase the entire book from leavinglarge.com, or you can go on Amazon. Check out the reviews, right? Check out the reviews, and if the stories seem like they resonate with you, please let this be the first step for you. Let this be the first step for you on getting to a body that you look good in, you feel good in, and a body that loves and serves you. So do that. Also, if you are finding us for the first time, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button so you can subscribe to I Am Brand New Now, so you don't miss any of our weekly broadcasts on Sunday nights, because we're going to be here Sunday nights with a brand new take at 7:00 every Sunday. So hit that subscribe button. We appreciate that. Also, if you can go to Facebook, and hit like on Facebook for I Am Brand New Now. Join the Facebook group, I Am Brand New Now, too, so you can get daily personal tips and updates that help you get to a body that you love and find out the real story around why you eat what you eat, because that's what we talk about here on Sunday nights. We talk about why we eat what we eat. We tell the truth about why we eat what we eat, and we do that. Well, we do that because we want to wear like cute clothes. So, I mean, like for real. We want to cute clothes. We want to wear cute clothes, but it is more than that, right? It's more than that. But if that's what gets you there, then let's use that. Let's use what Gina talks to us tonight about nutrition. We're going to be talking about carbs tonight, right, Gina? Is it carbs? We're going to be talking about carbs, and we're in the closet. We come to you in the closet every Sunday night. We come from the closet, and we talk about that, because it's how you look, how you feel, and how you want to show up. And what you wear is certainly a part of that. And it's when you look good, you do good, right? When you look good, when you look good, you feel good. When you look good, you feel good. And it really becomes a part of who you are, right? I don't know about you all, but sometimes I wake up, I might not be feeling the best, or I might be feeling kind of sluggish. But if I put on a bright color or something that I like, I look at myself in the mirror, I kind of get a little pep in my step. And just the outside can change the inside. It can have an impact on it. So we come to the closet because the closet represents a way that you can set a goal. That's how I did it, right? When I started off, I mean, I was in, the 20s, right? The 20 womans, right? But I had a goal. I had a vision. I had 5 sizes of clothes in my closet, and I couldn't wear them, right? And there were a few things in there that the few things I could wear, I didn't like the way they looked, and they were too tight. But as I got on this journey, I hung up. I hung up on my wall. I put on my phone what I wanted to wear. I had a couple of key outfits that were goals for me. And as soon as something got a little bit too big, just a little bit too big. It was out of there. It was at the consignment store or it was at Goodwill because there was no going back. It was no going back. So every Friday, that's why we do Fashionista Fridays in the group. Every Friday, I was trying to. Sometimes the jeans. And look at these cute cabbie jeans I have on. I don't know if you can see them now. Look at these cute cabbie jeans and this cute cabbie top. Sometimes the jeans, they would just start right there. But every Friday they'd come up a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. Then they were like right there. And then they get there and they get there. And then finally I could close up. So, we see what the steps are, and we see what making smart food choices, right? What smart food choices will do for us. And tonight, Gina is going to talk to us about the smart carbs, right? You hear so much stuff about carbs. Oh, carbs are bad. I mean, carbs are good. I mean, complex, simple. I don't even know that I really know the difference myself. And that it's a terrible thing to admit.
You do know it. It's so much information you can get overloaded.
You can.
But I bet you know.
You can. So tonight we're going to talk about one thing. We're going to talk about carbs tonight. We're going to start with that. And Gina, if you can just jump right in and tell us everything we need to know about making smart choices around carbs.
Right. Well, I'll start with what you said already. The confusion behind simple versus complex carbs, and that can also be broken down into, to make it even more simpler, what's good and what's bad, so to speak. So everybody's probably heard this at one point. All the white stuff is the bad stuff. So why is it bad? Because it's already broken down. So if you think about it, like a whole grain or a whole carb, so to speak, has all of its pieces. It's not processed, so the skin is there. It hasn't been stripped of its nutrients. It's in its natural state, right? And so I guess a good example could be white rice and brown rice, or a white potato versus a sweet potato. So what's the big difference? When you look at some white rice and you look at some brown rice, obviously the rice is brown, right? That's actually its natural state. That's what it looks like before it's touched and processed and broken down. And when it's broken down, it's basically ripped of all the nutrients, the B vitamins, the fiber, all the benefits, so to speak, into the white rice. Now, does it taste good? A lot of people will say yes, it does taste good, but it is broken down. So what that does, it's going to hit your bloodstream faster, and it's going to spike your blood sugar faster, and your insulin starts producing, and then it gets overproduced when we eat too many, and then we find ourselves gaining weight, because actually when you produce too much insulin, it can actually get stored as fat. So that's kind of the thing. And I know that was a lot, but when you think about it, it's what you want to have. A complex carb is going to be complex, right? That's the brown rice. It's complex when you think of it, like, because it has all these layers, it's complex. That was an easy way when I was trying to learn it, to kind of remember it. And then a simple one is it's broken down. It's very simple, right? So we reach basically the starch immediately reaches our bloodstream immediately when we digest it and break it down.
So Gina, what's the purpose of white rice? What's the purpose of stripping the nutrients from a food? Why would that happen? Why would manufacturers and companies do that? Because you'll see it. You'll see. At least I've seen it. It'll say food, and then it'll say enriched, right? But why do you have to enrich it if it already had it before you took it out of it? Right?
Exactly. So now it's processed, because they can mass produce it. It's easier to mass produce white rice than it is brown rice. Like, you go to the restaurant, right? Don't you have to pay an extra $1 or $2 for brown rice?
But why is it easier to mass produce something from its natural state? I mean, it seems like it would be more expensive.
That is the $1 million question. I've asked that question all the time. Like, it logically, right? Like, why, if it's in its natural state, isn't that cheaper to just package and sell
Mhm.
us, right?
Mhm.
That's a whole big another food industry kind of uh,
Question. Right.
breakdown, right?
Right.
So there's some other stuff behind that. I mean,
Mhm.
we can go into each food group. There's something behind it as to why we're not getting the immediate, pure, fresh, non-processed stuff.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but I will say it's a little different. Like in the Asian cuisine, you will see white rice is prominent.
Mhm.
But it's also used differently than how we use it in America, right?
Mhm.
So we process it further, more so
Mhm.
than they do,
Mm.
and our portions are grander,
Right.
way grander
Right.
than what the typical culture that eats that a lot would eat.
Well, but what I have found, Gina, and I don't know if this is, the same with you, Terry, or with other people,
Yeah.
is that, and not that, I'm a big rice eater. I'm not, right? But in fact, I don't really eat it, brown or white. But that's just me.
Right.
But when I did eat it, what I did find was that in order to get full, it took a smaller amount of the brown rice
Hmm.
than it did for the white rice.
And that's the other side to this, because you have the fiber, you have the
Mhm.
layers there that actually create the fullness. So when it's broken down, you can eat a far lot more amount of white rice or white potato than you could if it were brown rice or a sweet potato. Your
It's,
body's going to be more nourished and get
mhm.
fuller faster in the
And
satiation.
you need less and you need less of it.
Exactly.
You don't need as
Exactly.
much of it. So that kind of counterbalances
Hmm.
whatever the cost might be. It might be a little bit more expensive, but you don't need as much of it to feel full, and you get more nutrient. You get more
Nutrients. Yeah.
nutrient. You get more nutrients, and that is quite frankly the purpose of eating. Yeah,
Exactly.
the purpose of
Yes.
eating is to get nutrients,
Nutrients
right?
and fuel. The carbohydrate,
Right,
the
right.
main a big thing about carbohydrates and why our bodies need them is it's a source of fuel, right?
Mhm.
For the body to function. The thing with carbs is that, like I said before, when you're making your selection, the type is really important because how it's getting broken down in the body. So yeah, the whole grains and the excuse me, the complex carbs are going to keep you fuller. They're going to keep you from cravings.
Mhm.
They're going to also help you get your nutrients more so. The strip stuff is just going to get, you're going to eat it and it's not filling you up because all that stuff is gone. So
So
you want more
you
of it.
need more of it. You need
Yeah.
more of it because there's really less in it.
Yes.
You need
Exactly.
more because there's less in it.
Yeah.
All right. So you have talked about rice. Would you would you speak to flour? Would you speak to flour for?
Yeah, I mean, flour is another carb source. It's broken down, from the wheat, basically, as the main source. So flour is another, it's another thing to consider. I mean, it's just like beans, like all these little things that they serve as, they are carbohydrates. So we can't negate flour. And we can't negate when we're like that's comes into place when we're frying foods, right? People add flour. The baked goods, all that stuff, the flour is a carb source, and it's also broken down. So you could get whole wheat flour, but that's not the most common thing. You always see enriched white flour or enriched even sometimes wheat flour because they
Mm-hmm.
break some of that down. So again, we're looking at that. So you really want to try to find, when you're reading the food label, for it to say whole grain flour.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some substitutions. I mean, gluten has become, and we're going to talk about that in another session, but gluten, so there's some non-gluten flours that are a little bit more friendly to the body. Like cassava is a popular flour. Um, there's flours made now from almost anything. You have almond
Mm-hmm.
flour, coconut flour,
Mm-hmm.
lots of other things that are lower carb versions that are going to, again, not hit blood sugar and spike it so fast,
Mhm.
that are just better for the body, healthier, especially if you're, I mean, that's really key. Like if you're pre-diabetic or you are diabetic, these are the important things to really pay attention to. Or if you have a family history of diabetes, those are the places. The other thing I always say is that your body is with the circadian rhythm. So people always ask me about eating carbs, period. And I always tell them, if there's ever a time to eliminate it, it's in the evenings, because that's when your body is starting to slow down. So
Mhm.
right, we're at the morning where our engines are running, right?
Mhm.
Sun is up, it's just risen, our body is in rhythm with that. So we're going to burn more at the top of the day. Maybe it starts to decrease as you go through the day. In the afternoon, it's a little less. And then the evening, when the sun is going down, your body's kind of going down too. It's coming
Mhm.
to get to rest. So it's
Mhm.
not going to break down all those carbs as efficiently as it would have at the top of the day.
Mhm.
And we're not as active. You know what I mean? You might have gotten some exercise, you're walking more, you have more time to burn that stuff off. So
Mhm.
that's when I always encourage people to go to the non-carb. I mean, there's lots of replacements. You have cauliflower rice, you have vegetable noodles. There's other things that you can do to still feel full in the evening and negate the carbs.
Mhm.
But I don't ever recommend just wiping them out completely of your diet. And I know some people do that, and
Mhm.
it's not to speak badly against that. Maybe you're doing it temporarily, but carbs are everywhere. I mean, when you
Mhm.
think about it, they're in fruit, they're in vegetables. There's,
Mhm.
there's no way around it
Right.
completely.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's just that the source of it, what's better for the body, what gets processed better for the body, what's going to spike the blood sugar less,
Mhm.
that kind
So,
of thing. Yeah.
so do you have something that you can share that like maybe ranks or categorizes carbs or something like that? That I mean, and people can go to your website and can find it or reach out to you and get it. But I think
Yeah.
you've
Or we
got
can
some
put,
sort of carb or post it. Yeah, post it
I'll
in the
post
group.
something in the
Sort of
group, but
carb directory.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I think one of the most interesting things, like when I was looking at something earlier, like when you think about it, brown rice, a half a cup, 22 grams of carbs. Oatmeal is 13 grams. So there are levels to it. And then surprisingly, quinoa is 11 grams
Mhm.
versus that brown rice. So that's even less.
Mhm.
So there are different, yeah, absolutely different levels. If you're kind of monitoring your carbs,
Mhm.
I don't ever really recommend to go crazy counting carbs, but there are some people that use it for different reasons, right?
Mhm.
For health reasons. The other thing too is I should speak about a common question is the net carbs people
Mhm.
ask about.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, and what that is really, what that is telling you. So you'll see on a food label carbs and then net carbs sometimes. Carbs is like the full amount of what is in there, nothing stripped, right? So you think of it that way. Then you look at the fiber, how many grams of fiber, so you can subtract that. So let's just say something had 20 grams of fiber, right? I'm sorry, 20 grams of carbs, and then it had 4 grams of fiber. So you subtract from the 20 the 4. So now we have 16 grams of carbs that your
Oh,
body's going to process. So that's what it means when we say net carbs. So a lot of people will follow that number. But that's because that particular food has high fiber, which will bring down the carb amount. Because remember, we just talked about that earlier. What keeps you fuller, what helps you absorb better and process better, that fiber is key.
so I'm now that you have brought up the fiber, what what are the if you can think of like some of the top foods that have a high fiber content. I mean, my grandmother always told me, eat some prunes.
I thought the same thing.
You need some prune
Want some
juice.
fiber?
You need some, and I don't know if that's fiber or if that's something else, but it was like there were two things she always talked about. She talked about bran, and she
Mhm.
talked about bran, and she talked about prunes.
Yeah, bran is great. I mean, bran is, if you think of it, bran is like the wheat in its natural state. So that's a lot of fiber. It's really good. Fruits and vegetables have fiber. The skin on potatoes, don't take that off. That's full of
Okay.
fiber. That's the good stuff. So you have oats have fiber, beans have fiber, your dark leafy greens have fiber. Those are the types of foods that are high in it. I think we said legumes. I said oats. I said there's one I'm probably missing. But the grains, all the grains are good in fiber. Brown rice, quinoa, the ones that are, again, in their natural state.
And for anybody that doesn't know, when we talk about fiber, we're talking about that which keeps you regular.
Yes. That too. That's another good thing about fiber.
And that's important. That's important for sure.
Yeah.
But, as you were talking about the skin on the potatoes, here's something that I discovered, and I don't know if you have, because I know you're doing the recipes and whatnot, but I love the skin on sweet potatoes. And I just wash them really good, get them nice and clean and scrubbed. And I have baked sweet potatoes, and then I have processed them. I have processed them in the blender, skin and all, skin and all, with a little vegetable broth or chicken broth, and made like a sweet potato soup. Add a little almond milk, little cayenne pepper, and some little cayenne pepper and nutmeg, and that the skin gets processed in it, and you really don't even realize it, but it gives it a nice, really brown. Gina, we need to we need to do some videos in the kitchen. We need to cook. We just need to do a couple little. Let's do that.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Yeah,
and do some DIY tips.
Okay. All right. So
But I was gonna say,
so y'all, everybody, you heard it on air. You heard it on air. Me and Gina in the kitchen.
We'll pull you out of the closet for a second and go into
from the closet to the kitchen.
Right. And another one that's good too is apples are high in fiber. So are berries. It's another one.
And you speak of apples. I mean, speaking of apples, for me, apples are my secret weapon.
Yeah,
I will buy a bag a week, and I keep them in my car. I keep them in my purse. When we were in the office setting, I would keep them on my desk in my office, and they're just like a go-to, like a crunchy go-to that kind of like takes the edge off hunger, keeps me from being too hungry. Or even many times I'll keep the apples in the car, and before I go out to eat, right? Before I go out to eat, I'll eat an apple, so I'm full, right? And I'm full before I'm filling up, really.
Right. You've had a little appetizer, now you won't overdo it.
Exactly. Because I'm a fast eater, right? I just kind of own that and have tried to figure out how to get around the fact that that's what I am. Okay. I tried that slowing down thing. It didn't really work for you. But what does work for me is to have something a little ahead of time to take the edge off, so that when I do get into a restaurant or when I do have my meal, I'm already halfway full. So I don't feel the urge to overeat. So and apples, I use them in the car. You see homeless people, right? I can't give money to everybody, but I can give everybody an apple. I can, you still feel good about it. So
apples, that's great. Yeah.
I eat sometimes I might eat 2 or 3 a day.
I love apples too. Is there a better brand? Because I love Honeycrisp.
I love the Honeycrisp. I love the Honeycrisp.
I think they're all good. I mean, I think if you just find your favorite, like I have my favorite. I like the Envy apples. But,
that's good too. Yeah,
those are good. But I think like one of the things that I do when I eat out, or even when I eat at home, I always have a salad before. So that's always my appetizer, because that fills me up, and then I don't overdo it in my meal. So that's kind of like my slow down thing.
In the carbs, you don't overdo it in the carbs.
Exactly. The carbs or the food, right? Or the entree. Yeah.
So that's really like two great tips to have an apple or have something, right? Something nutritious, before you head out to kind of get yourself full, so you don't overindulge, or to have the salad. Let that be the thing that you eat before, and really take the edge off. Because there's some ways to do it. There's some ways to do it and feel good about it, and not feel deprived.
And when you do your carbs, the serving is a half a cup. So really being mindful of that. Everybody's fist, like if you hold your fist like a cup, that's a cup. So it's half of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's really what you want to strive for when we're trying to portion control and we're trying to, get into that cabbie closet. Just
we're trying to get in that cabbie closet.
Right.
And we have to, be vigilant. We have to be vigilant. When we're going out to eat, we have to be vigilant about portion controls, because you'll get a plate, right? You'll get a plate that is like that much rice, right? That is that much rice.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes because it's on the plate, you feel like you have to eat it. And what I will tell you this, sometimes what I'll do, because as you said, carbs are the complex carbs are in other foods, rather than get that starchy thing, the French fries or the rice or the potato or the whatever else they might, the pasta that they might be offering. I'll just ask, okay, give me double spinach.
Yeah. Double the vegetable.
Double the vegetable.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Double the green leafy vegetable, double if it's a medley, carrots and broccoli and cauliflower, just double that.
Yeah.
And that takes the edge off of it, and you can do it really pretty surreptitiously. Surreptitiously.
Nobody's gonna protest to that. I do it all the time in the restaurant. Leave out and double it up. So
exactly. So carbs are not a bad thing. We need them for energy. We need them
vitamins, nutrients,
for vitamins.
Yeah.
We just have to be mindful that they're the right carbs, right? That they're the right carbs, that they're the complex carbs, and that they're the ones that and we have them at the right time of the day, right?
Yeah.
Right. We have them at the right time of the day, and we make sure. Here's the other thing: we make sure that they are not covered in the things that we talked about last week and the week before. Right. They're not covered in fat or infused with sugar.
They already turn into sugar in our bodies. We don't need any extra help.
Right. So we have to be mindful and vigilant about that we get them steamed, we get them baked, we get them with a little lemon on them, or maybe like a drizzle of a healthy avocado oil, a healthy oil to flavor them up, with some spices, and the flavor will come through. I mean, the flavor will come through. We just get used to actually tasting the vegetable and enjoying
the seasoning. You don't even taste the vegetable when it's soaked. I want to taste the actual. Because when you actually taste the vegetable and you put the right flavoring just to bring it up, it's really good.
Yeah. And we're gonna show you that, Gina and I, when we leave the closet and we get into the taste kitchen. Well, listen, Gina, thank you so much for joining us this evening and sharing the insight and information on the good carb, bad carb. Good cop, bad cop, But please tell anybody who's listening how to reach you.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram, Gina Nutrition, or you can email me, GinaTrimNutrition@gmail.com.
Fabulous. Thank you, Gina. We will see you. We'll see you next month in the cabbie closet, and we may see you sooner than that when we get into the kitchen. We get into that I Am Brand New Taste Kitchen and see what we can cook up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gina. And if you haven't downloaded your free chapter of Leaving Large, The Stories of a Food Addict, do that now, www.leavinglarge.com. If you want to reach me, you can reach me at I Am Brand New Now at Gmail. And if you want to get into this cabbie closet, right, and you reach Terry Riley, Terry, tell everybody how to reach you.
Sure. I'm on Instagram at stylishlyterry, and you can reach me by email at terry@empoweredstyles.com.
And especially if you like this blue sweater, right? If you like the jeans, if you like what she has on, check her out. Check her out. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.